Start.
Okay. Okay. Today's discussion, before I open the floor for discussion, very brief in terms of, we are looking in terms of leadership and authority, equating to, Elena, can you please mute your microphone? Thank you. Is equated to masculinity. So we saw on Monday, there are masculine and feminine traits. And leadership, when one talks about leadership, talks about traits like strong, intelligent, powerful, assertive, focused, competitive. So all these are traits both men and women can have. But historically, these traits have been demonstrated by men. So therefore, the leadership is always seen masculine, male driven. But more and more, it's realized that the leadership is not exclusively masculine, and there is a demand for feminine traits like care, compassion, relationship, as opposed to arrogance, ego-driven, dominant, stubborn nature. So there is our own perspective on leadership, on this gender binary of masculine and feminine traits is keep changing. But however, we still find challenges, confusions on this masculinity. So I would now like you to listen to this brief video before we start discussion. Let me share the screen. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
Led by an all-women team?
Yes.
Say do.
Would you like to be led by an all-women team? What is it like to be a woman leader in a man's world?
A huge risk is attached to undertaking a leadership position when you are a woman, because you are judged on the basis of prejudice linked to your gender.
We are going to look at what it takes to be a woman who leads. There might be lessons in it for men too. The picture that made headlines around the world. Some of the leaders of Finland's new coalition government. Notable for their gender and the way this informs their policy and leadership. All 5 leaders were women. All but one were under the age of 35 when they took power in December 2019. Sanna Marin, at the age of 34, became Finland's youngest ever Prime Minister. Finland has a record of leading when it comes to women's rights, the first country in the world to give full voting rights to women, and one used to females in positions of power. The women say there are pitfalls to having an all-female team.
What we want is not to reproduce the excluding structures that men have used as women, but really kind of to change those structures.
And there have been disagreements between the leaders. But Finland won praise for its early handling of the coronavirus pandemic, like some other female-led countries. And the government is pushing an ambitious equality programme that gives greater rights to trans people, encourages parents to share caring responsibilities, and closes the gender pay gap. So what does Finland's example tell us about female leadership in a man's world?
All women in the Finnish Five Coalition have kind of experiential understanding of, exclusion and marginalization and living in hardship. And I think that also make them, understand care and value it more, as well as inclusion and solidarity.
The Finnish leaders put care at the heart of the decisions they make and goals they set.
But actually working towards that goal involves perseverance and working through difference and working through conflict and trying to find a way around and through all these differences like political affiliation or beliefs or your stances and so on. So I think women are experientially made to kind of work in that way from their early age, and they don't just give up on the first hurdle, but persevere.
The Finnish leaders have different political beliefs, but they persevere to work through their differences together.
A huge risk is attached to undertaking a leadership position when you are a woman, because you are judged on the basis of prejudice linked to your gender. So if Finnish Five, for example, was to fail for any reason, or miss to deliver on the promises that they made, they would probably be judged, harsher than their male counterparts, be it by politicians or media or their electorate.
So women leaders are judged more harshly than male leaders. They face prejudice because of their gender. Is that fair?
The pandemic or financial crisis or climate crisis, they are making it obvious that this kind of inclusive, caring leadership is something that we require in order to get through. And I think that's what that is exactly what propelled this kind of traditionally understood as feminine leadership forward. And I can see, it being applied widely in the future.
So, the leadership qualities traditionally associated with women, such as caring for others and working together, have proven successful in tackling global crises. Maggie Palmer started life as a journalist, but realised she had a different story to tell. Women across the world are generally paid less than men and don't hold as many top jobs in companies. Maggie decided to do something about that, so she set up Pep Talk Her. It coaches women on getting fair pay and pushes for gender balance in senior positions. Its aim is to end the pay gap and help women become the leaders they want to be.
So I've had some really positive experiences as a woman in leadership. I've had a lot of men and women who've sponsored me to get into more senior roles in the workforce. I've also had some really negative experiences in the workplace with inappropriate behaviour, being spoken to differently and being treated differently purely because of my gender.
Maggie Palmer has had positive and negative experiences. She has been supported to reach senior positions, but she has also been treated differently to her male colleagues.
I had an experience of pay inequality in my career. I found out that I was being paid less and had different terms and conditions to my employment when compared to my male colleagues. This didn't seem fair to me, so I raised it with the bosses and they said to me, Maggie, if you don't like it, you can quit or you can take us to court. Now, this was a few years ago, so I hope that things have changed somewhat. Although what we know is that the gender pay gap still exists all around the world, still to this day.
Maggie had her own experiences of being paid less than her male counterparts, pay inequality, and wanted to do something about it.
Being the only person anywhere is lonely, right? If you're the only person of colour, if you're the only woman, it can be lonely. And so, that's what women leaders tell me, that it is lonely. And I sit on some not-for-profit boards, and I've had the experience as well of raising issues, particularly that pertain to women, and just getting crickets from all the men on the board, right? And I would get a little bit of support maybe from one of the other female board members, but we were outnumbered. And so when you're outnumbered, it's really hard to create that change, right? And so it's frustrating, but it's something that we need to continue to talk about. We have to keep amplifying this issue.
Meggie knows what it is like to be one of the only women in the boardroom. Women leaders can often feel isolated.
So when we think about whose responsibility is it to improve these situations, really, it's all of our responsibilities. This is not a problem just for women to solve. This is not a problem just for leadership to solve. This is a problem for all of us to solve. When you are in middle management and you are hiring, you have the ability to say, I want to make sure that I'm interviewing male and female candidates, right? When you are interviewing for jobs, you can actively ask, what are the policies here to encourage diversity amongst the team?
Meggie says change is everyone's responsibility. Everyone, at whatever level, should ask the questions that will lead to more equality in the workplace.
So we know that when there are women in leadership, companies perform better. We know that women-led startups return a higher return on investment to investors than teams of startups that just have men in leadership. We know when we're looking at larger businesses, when there are women in the C-suite, the net profit of that business goes up. When we have women in leadership, what we find is the decision-making process is more robust and more effective.
Research shows that companies that have women in leadership roles perform better. So what have we learned about women in leadership? They face more judgment and risk to their reputations, but they are likely to prioritise care and compassion in decision-making, and they can make businesses and governments more effective.
Let me see. Any comments? Any quick comments on the video? Yes, Pesh.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
My takeaway from the video is that a lot of women, they still get judged harshly.
Yeah.
And there is this stereotype that women are emotional and therefore they cannot make decisions, which is wrong, because from the research that has been done, it's women that make a decision, like they can make decision. And again, I've learned that when, there is this rule that the majority always win, right? Yeah. So when, like we have seen, a lot of companies have male people. The male people are more than female. So when, like for example, if you are the only female or you are fewer, you find that it is difficult to air your views and issues because you are not the majority, and obviously you will not win. Yeah, that's my take.
Thank you, Pesh. Mary?
Yeah, it is very true that women are really judged very harshly. And it's not just even in leadership. Look at us even when we are driving on the roads. And it is okay when a man maybe causes an accident or drives badly. But if it is a woman, all the insults will come. It will be like these useless women drivers, they will be judged so harshly in everything. So any mistake that a man can easily get away with, for a woman, it will be because she's a woman. And even when a woman is a leader, it will be like she has to seek kind of permission from others, and like a man who will just make the decision himself.
Thank you, Mary. I think the woman will be judged harshly. I think that's the tagline that we should look at. Select so.
Thank you so much, and good day, colleagues, or greetings, because you are at different time zones. I'm from Botswana, and thank you very much for the very insightful video. I would say that my take home from the video is that as women, it's very difficult for us to penetrate the glass ceiling. You know, it's not easy for us to raise to the leadership positions. And it's never easy for one to raise, you know, to the occasion. But one has to persevere to ultimately be the change agent, because after all, as women, we want to be agents of change. And of course, we have to persevere to see that change, or to make that change, to fulfill that change that you would want to see amongst the women. So that's my take home from the video. Thank you.
Thanks, Elita. So that's the perseverance. We know that it is not easy, but we need to persevere to prove ourselves that we are effective leaders. Thank you. Then Helena.
Thank you. My takeaway from the video is that as a woman, being a woman, especially in a leadership position, is risky because you're judged by prejudice. And you find that women face a lot of discrimination, especially when they work as leaders in any situation, be it in the home or the workplace. And being judged as a woman, it's even as a single woman, if I speak from a personal experience, the questions you're asked: how do you handle your household? You'll bring up irresponsible children, you'll bring up indisciplined children, which most of the time is not the case. But I've also learned from the video that as a woman, change begins with you, and change also begins with the people around you, and you need to speak up. For instance, in an interview, there may be prejudice, but as long as you ask questions and ask about the gender policies in any workplace, you know you're opening up people's minds. And finally, women-led companies, women-led organizations, women-led institutions perform better. So that is a plus and very encouraging.
Thank you, Helena. Yuan? Yes, Yuan, go ahead. Yuan?
Hello, hi everyone.
Yes.
Yvonne from Kenya. What I really got from the video is, particularly I've studied gender, and this is my first time to know that Finland is the first country in the world to give women voting rights. So that really stand out for me. And the gender pay gap is real. It's still there. And this is result of the discrimination on the gender that has or should participate in white collar jobs, mostly the men. So that's where the inequalities come in. And when you go to a workplace, maybe you find the secretary is a man. You yourself as a woman, you'd be astonished. So like you're shocked. Why is not my fellow woman as a secretary or anything like that? So I think the gender pay gap, first of all, it's us as women to come up and just bring it down and incorporate the policies and men also, so that we can end this gender pay gap, because all of us have equal opportunities, all of us have equal skills. That's better. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. I think we need to look at in terms of, although it is complex and difficult and challenging, but we still have positive images, positive stories, positive opportunities around us. I think that is what must motivate us to take action as change agents. Thank you, Yuan. Millicent?
Okay, thank you so much. I greet you from Kenya, and whatever I have heard from the video is that due to the feminine characteristics of working together and caring, it has led to a successful leadership, and especially in tackling the global disasters, because their decision-making processes are more robust and more effective. But on the other hand, we have seen that in case they fail to deliver whatever, to deliver their promises, they face more judgment than their male counterparts. And also, there is risk in their reputation, so that we see women are more judged than the male counterparts, and that is so sad. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I see this very strong message that we have is in terms of, so far, leadership is always seen with masculine traits. It's more and more now being realized that leadership is not only masculine with masculine traits, but it also needs to have a feminine traits like care, compassion, relationship. So therefore, this will lay a road in terms of looking at, rather than looking it as a binary, seeing that there is a balance between the two traits in any position one holds. You need to have a masculine trait and also need to be a feminine trait. That will help in, that will contribute to us, rather than assigning roles to sex. It is more to individuals' skills and competence. Thank you very much, Pesh, Vivian, and then Vera was also there. Okay, Pesh.
Oh yes, I just remembered something. To digress a little, even when we talk about the gender-based violence, in most cases you find that the perpetrator, who in most cases is always a man, always like blame the victim, who's a woman, and they say something like, I was provoked by that woman to rape her, which is wrong. That is inequality in the gender sector.
Thank you, Pesh. Thank you very much. Vivian?
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. This is Vivian from Kenya. And my take is that women are judged harshly. And even we can see from an example whereby a woman is vying for a certain electoral seat, you'll find men or even other women judging the woman and giving out harsh words to her, saying maybe this woman even is a dictator or is the head of the house, as in just give several words that will have to prevent that woman from vying, so that she can just withdraw, or he can just give her. But now also you will find that in leadership, for example, in organizations where the women are the leaders, if anything happens and the organization is unstable or it has instability challenges, they will start now blaming the woman, because they will say, you see, because just is the leader, that's why we are having these challenges, or that's why the organization is not even stable. And it's our responsibility, like for us all, it has to start from us, even at home. If you are married, let your man treat you in a way that will bring the change in the norms, and will bring out differences, or will bring out this coming to an end, or doing away with the inequality or the feminism traits. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Vera?
Hi all. I just want to give an example. Our country just recently held elections, and I was head of communication and branding for one of the women aspirants. And one of the things that kept on coming out was that anytime we went to campaign, the men would always ask, where is the husband? You know, fine. We put the picture of the husband and the family online. The next thing was like, the husband is not even Kenyan, you know? Like there has to be constant demeaning or trying to diminish the space or curtailing the strength of this woman. Now they started saying that since she's the sister of maybe the former prime minister, so she's going to be advantaged. And actually, when we went for the primaries, when the parties were supposed to choose the aspirants, she had to work extra hard to ensure that even for that portfolio that she was going for of woman representative, the party didn't do consensus, because the party was doing either consensus in areas. And she said, no, if consensus is done and I'm actually chosen, they will say I was chosen because my brother, not because of my own effort or because people chose me. And we actually had to go into for elections for that one. And people elected her, and still people were still saying she didn't earn that position, you know, and she worked extra hard. You know.
Thank you, Vera. I think with that, let's start in terms of a very good reflection on the video. The purpose of the video was to trigger this discussion. I think it is right time that Vera has started her own personal experience. So today's discussion is more on that, our own personal experience on the leadership and authority being associated as masculine. So I'm going to share the screen and then let's can you see the screen? So today's discussion is deconstructing masculinity, or leadership and authority equated with masculinity. We did see both in the video as well as now where I was talking about, they have always been looking in terms of the sources being masculine. So the discussion is in terms of your own sharing your own personal experience in terms of when you wanted to reach out for leadership position or when you wanted to exercise authority. What has been your experience? What factors that handle, because we know in terms of Vivian was talking about the glass ceiling. So what are the factors that hindered breaking this glass ceiling? What opportunities and challenges exist to create equitable play? And if you are responsible to create such a problem, what actions propose? So, well, the last one we come back at the end of it. So therefore, I would like you to look at, we are not here to experience. What was your experience when you wanted to demonstrate, display your own leadership and authority? How do we break this glass ceiling? What opportunities and challenges that existed for you to demonstrate your leadership? And if you are going to be the person who will encourage others, what type of find for a discussion? And then I'm going to stop the screen, because this is available with you in the slides, the slide number 15. So let's discuss that. The floor is open for discussion. Vera has started with her own experience of the campaigns on the elections. Maybe we can start from there and then move forward. Yes, Vera?
Yeah. Apart from that, let me just use my own personal experience. I got a job as the lead for communication for 14 counties. And with this job, it meant that my bosses were the 14 governors.
Okay.
And at some point, we had to have more staff coming in.
Yeah.
And being that my role involved actually engaging with the governors, and most of them are male. And so this kind of was not sitting very well, because it is a political office kind of, though it's supposed to be a development vehicle. But since it is politically inclined, it's a county government initiative. Most of the times you would be told that you actually didn't earn that position to be there. Like you either, slept with someone to be there.
Yeah.
And I remember one time someone reaching out, one of the Gata Press people reaching out to tell me that there's this story I want to do about you. And, like you're being touted as the most authoritative woman, like after the chairman, and then the CEO, then you're third in command. How is that possible, And I was like, maybe by virtue of the fact of the job that I do, that I have to interact with all this, and I'm the one who's in charge of, I'm the face of the organization.
Yeah.
And this person was, no, it is being rumored that you and your CEO have an affair. And I told this person, go ahead and publish the story. I won't stop being me. And this experience actually made me start mentoring young leaders. That is where my passion to mentor started coming in. And I was like, any girl or lady who came for attachment or internship, I would always take them under my wing, and I would make them excel in the department that, I would always push them, go for this. You don't have to ask for space to sit at the table. Simply take a seat, pull it on the table and sit. And that is how I was actually able to navigate. And I'm still doing that up to date, Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point in terms of that's where I think the society uses antagonize the women who are initiative. I think that's what I think there is no other way for people to demean, so they use these type of things that put you down. Thank you, Vera, for sharing that. Did they say in terms of how were you not capable of doing it? Then say
well,
that,
it was no. There wasn't, because if it's papers, I had the papers. If it's the experience, I had the experience. My job spoke for itself. So it was just those things of like how comes, like why is it that only when she speaks it is listened to? Because my work is to brand the organization. So you may have an idea, but I would actually tell you this: if we go through with this is what it means for the organization. So sometimes the chairman actually just says, no, we are going to go with this idea, because it's my work to manage crisis and to manage the brand.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vera. I think those assertiveness was what is required. Vivian, thank you, Vera, for sharing that experience. Vivian.
Thank you very much. I would also like to share my experience, whereby in the just concluded elections in Kenya, I had this position as the presiding officer. And there were challenges that I used to face, because some people were saying, why did they decide to give that position to a woman? What if there are wrangles during elections? Sometimes there are usually wrangles. What will she do? And you could find even the agents, the political agents for various parties harassing me as a woman, and I could stand firm and tell them, let's see let everyone perform his or her duty, because yes, I'm in charge of that polling station. You are there as an agent. Perform your duty as an agent, and let me perform my duty as the presiding officer. And that's how I could navigate. Even during the counting of the votes, they could tell me, when you raise, maybe you make a mistake, they could tell you, you see, now just because you're a woman. And I could tell them, no, woman is to error. And I ensured that I did everything right. And they were surprised. And at the end of the day, they were saying, this woman is fit for that position.
Yeah, good. Very good. Good. I think that was a very, very pertinent reform in terms of to error is human. It is not in terms of whether it is male or female. Thank you very much, Vivian. Yuan?
Hi, everyone. I have I want to say a funny experience, but it's kind of funny and not funny. So last year we were attending, I'm a group of advocates advocating for maternal and neonatal health. And we were having a roundtable meeting with duty bearers and the governors and all the stakeholders. And I was part of the panel to attend the meeting. I don't know if I'd say it's just it's just a discrimination based on intersectionality because I was thrown out of the meeting. So I couldn't, it really wasn't appealing to me. Because I really sat down and composed myself. Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I don't have enough papers? Okay, I really didn't know what came about. But as I looked to the day, I saw like there was just some inequalities which came up, which there was just one woman who was there, and actually it was our chair. And me being the second woman there, I don't know, I really don't know how these stakeholders work and everything. So these inequalities are there. They really didn't say why I shouldn't go, but by just looking through, you'll fix the gaps on why you are kicked out of the conference and everything.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvonne, for sharing that. Mary?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, still talking in Kenya. I come from Western Kenya.
Okay.
And in Kenya, we have this seat called the woman representative. And like where I come from, whenever women stand for other seats, like member of parliament, like member of the county assembly, you know, you are reminded like, you know, leave the male positions alone. You know, a governor, a member of parliament, member of county assembly are like, they have been taken to be male. And women are normally told, go for your seat. You have your seat for women. You know, like all women now are pushed to go for a woman representative. While the constitution allows us to be governors, to be member of county assembly, to be members of parliament. And I remember one time I vied to be a member of parliament in my constituency. And I was being told, you know, what kind of a woman are you? Why are you fighting men? Why are you going for male seats? It really makes you feel very small. It really makes you feel very not respected. But again, another one that comes. Yesterday, I shared what I'm doing on the ground. I've said I've taken children to school. I've put up houses for poor people. I have made food security possible in my community. And my community appreciates. They really appreciate. But in appreciation, they normally say, oh, Mary's like a man. The things she does, you know, she works like a man. Mary is the son we never had in this community. And I always remind them that I am the daughter that you had.
I think that
because of what I do, it's like a woman can't just take children to school. A woman can't go and negotiate with the donors and bring resources to the community. So a lot of times you hear them saying Mary is a man. And that they say that like to praise me, which is really bad. I don't like that praise. Thank you.
I think that the reference is always a male. If somebody is excelling in public, that should only be men. Very, very interesting. Thanks, Mary, for sharing that. Yeah, there are nothing in terms of it is male or female because everyone is equal. But unfortunately, there is more in terms of stereotyping, you know, boxing people. So, woman representation should only be women. It can be men also. Men also can represent women. I think we need to raise beyond that. Pesh, Helena, Neria. Pesh?
Yes, like Yvonne said, there is discrimination based on intersectionality. So there is this job opportunity I saw on social media and I applied for it. And when they called, they were like, hi, we've seen on your Facebook, you are a feminist and you are a queer human being. So I'm sorry, but we cannot hire you. So you see, me being queer, a female body and a feminist led to me not getting the job. So there is discrimination based on intersectionality.
But what was the reason? If you are a feminist, how are you not?
No, you see, like there are some people, if they hear the word feminist, they see violence. They believe that feminists are violent people, that they they
Okay,
tell
okay.
women not to,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
to be with men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Pesh. Yeah, I think in terms. Helena?
Thank you, Helena from Kenya.
Yeah.
My experience in reaching leadership was quite challenging. I remember in my last position, I was proposed to take up a management position, but I had to decline because of the kind of infights that I experienced in name calling, like with a lot of religious stereotype that a woman cannot lead men.
Okay.
A woman's voice cannot be heard where men are.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just fought on. I declined the positions, but I took a deputizing position because, well, I had more experience than the person who was taken up as a manager. So I said, why? I would still work as a consultant. I'm losing nothing. Nobody's taking knowledge out of my head. So I still worked, and there was that constant consultation, like even out of work hours, they would call you and ask you questions. If you're not there, you know, they look for you. But at the end of the day, they would still call me names. They called me a witch because they're like, how can a woman be so outspoken? How can a woman be so intelligent? So, you know, there must be some witchcraft involved. How can we even listen to her? You know, they tell you all things that bring you down. But from my upbringing, I want to say I'm lucky that being a firstborn and that influence of my father. My mother died when I was very young. So my father really encouraged us, you know, you need to speak up. You really need to speak up when, you know, in any situation. So in as much as there was this, there was also, you know, trying to work, trying to stay relevant, and, you know, trying to be there because you need this job and you need to sustain yourself and you need that experience. So well, on being called smart, I told them, well, I'm smart enough to let you know that as a woman, I'm also a human being. So what you can do, I can also do. And I decided to empower even some of my colleagues, even some of my female colleagues who are being told, you know, you can't take up this position. If you take up, there must be a man leading and you deputize that man. So I told them, no, you can do it better. And you really need to work and work hard. And as an individual, I think I would also ask anybody if there are any laws prohibiting someone to take up any position because they're a woman. And of course, they would say, anyway, there is no law, but you're still a woman. But I told them, we speak up and we fight for our space and we fight for what we can rightfully do. And if it's about qualifications, then let's table our papers and let's see if our papers will not even speak for us. But I would still encourage women, even if you don't have those papers and you can do something, go for it. Yes.
That's very, very, very powerful, Elena. I think also in terms of salute to your father who was supportive of that. Very good. Natalia, you are always correct. In terms of when there is good, it's always associated to men. When there is bad or negative, it's always associated with women. That's the way societal norms are. Let's look at in terms of Neria, Goldson, and Nancy, and then we'll move to the next question. Neria?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. Neria is from Botswana, in a small village called, not a village per se, Palape. Yes. What my experiences have been that in my country, it's very easy for women to get the leadership positions. But they always have a challenge with the support part of it, the support systems, because in the workplace, for example, you get a woman leader, maybe because I'm a teacher, you get a school head, she is a woman. You find that it starts even from us as women. We do not have confidence in each other. When we have a woman leader there, instead of us forming her support group, we tend to be skeptical. We tend to wonder if she'll do a good job. Women have gone to do their
their education to get the papers, of course, but as the society which tends to be too harsh on them because they believe that a woman shouldn't be a leader. For example, for one to be a leader as a woman, you must learn certain character traits in order to win in any situation, because you find it twice as hard for you as a woman than it is for men. For example, society expects a woman to be submissive, to be soft spoken and all that. So even in the workplace, when you are leading, when you tend to raise your voice, you tend to be strict, people now take out the femininity part of you and they associate you with some kind of, or having some sort of male, I don't know how to put it. They tend to think you are bossy. So they want you as a woman to still be soft-spoken, a little bit submissive. So it's challenging for women. You find that most of the time, especially in a school setup, they don't really perform well, or they don't really do a good job because everybody is against them. So normally when I'm in a workplace, like for example, I'm going to have a female school head after having a male school head. Automatically I've wanted to support her, to say she's coming, she's a leader there, she's going to have it tough. So what I can do is try and support her, because I think that is lacking in the forums that we get when we have women leadership. We need to support each other. We need to create a space where a woman can excel and thrive, instead of maybe retrieving into a shell and not doing a good job. So for me, the job right now is to try and create a platform for women to excel with support systems from other women. We cannot co-opt the men into the space if we as women do not support each other in leadership position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nadia. Go ahead, Sonia. Nancy, I think we go ahead, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you. Huitsone is also from Botswana. And maybe just to share a bit, I work for the police service, and I'm in the senior management of the police service here in Botswana. Okay. You know, it's by nature a predominantly male environment. And you know, I think that the experience has been that, you know, getting to where I am, and you are presented in platforms with this position that I'm holding. You know, people really associate the police service with men. They associate it with force and physique. So if you appear and you are a woman, people doubt whether really you are able to deliver. I think that's the experience that you get. And one thing again that hinders us again as women is that when we work in such environments, we try to prove ourselves that we can. We try to demonstrate physically that physique, that we have it, and then it turns out to be the opposite. As the previous speaker had said, you appear like you are a villain, you appear like, you know, you come with that type of thing. Now you are labeled negatively because we try to show it and prove to the people. We want validation from people. But opportunities are always there. What I always say is, as women in leadership, most especially in male-dominated environments, is to take learnings from the experiences we had and make sure we influence policy, we influence to create better working environments or conducive working environments for the upcoming women, that they will be able, you know, to penetrate the spaces. I think that's my contribution to it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, Sana. Nansasi.
This is
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking, Nancy.
I'm from Uganda. In Uganda, when women buy food, take care of children financial.
Nancy, your voice is breaking. We can't hear you, Nancy.
Okay. But when you tell men to, but when you take nurses to men.
Your voice is breaking.
My submission was,
yeah.
When
Okay, let's move forward. I think we had enough in terms of, I think Neria has started in terms of support groups that would encourage women to assert themselves. So how do we handle this? How do we break this glass ceiling? Yvonne?
I'd say us coming up and standing together as one, both men and women, and looking at the policies, how are we going to incorporate women in leadership? These policies are what the government and people and high stakeholders use in terms of references, because it's a societal thing. So we look at the society. What does society follow? If there are these policies and laws, how are we going to incorporate leadership in women in these policies and laws? Incorporate them actually in implementing and making these policies and laws. So by incorporating women, hearing their voice out and opinions on how they view leadership, because you can find, for example, if you ask one woman, is it fit for a woman to be a leader? One woman will say, yes, I have the skills. Both of us, men and women, are fit to be in leadership positions. And when you ask one woman, is it fit for a woman to be in leadership position? Because of the societal norms and reached in her, she will say leadership positions are for men. So we have to have a research and sit down with all women, both urban and rural, and see what are these views, what are the women's views, their own views on leadership, and how are we going to change this construct in the society in terms of societal norms and in terms of policies and laws, so that step by step we'll reach there.
Very good point, Yvonne. I think we need to deconstruct our view or norm of leadership. Very well said. Are there any male members in the group? No one so far has voiced. Does it mean that you don't want any male member in the group? Are there any male members? Hello? May I request male members to share your comments, please, because so far we haven't heard. Hello? Paul? Let me see from, I saw there is one Paul. Paul, can you share your views? Is Paul there? Paul is there. Okay, Vera.
Well, to break the ceiling, I think when you talk about intersectionality, I think that the women movements in all the intersectional spaces need to be intentional in working together and having a unified voice. That is the only way we are going to be able to break the ceiling, because if women with disability, for instance, like if women with disability are able to then be empowered enough such that they're, like women, let's say, for example, the women maybe in agriculture are able to join women in disability, and women, other types of women movements are able to join one another, then we can actually break the ceiling and be very intentional with the asks that we have. For instance, whatever space that you are in as a woman leader, be very intentional to make sure that the other women that either are your juniors or are around you are also empowered to the point that you are able to actually exit and leave, like a legacy of other empowered women behind you.
Yeah. Thank you, Vera. I think very, very strong point. I think we need to look at it, how diverse is the group? How do you include different groups which are vulnerable to voice this? I think that's a very good point. Catalina?
Hi, everyone.
Yes, Catalina.
Hello.
Yes, Catalina, go ahead.
To break this glass ceiling, I think women, as much as we are saying we'll support each other, we need to move the male counterpart. If we move alone as women, the male counterpart will always look forward and regroup and pull us down. So in these endeavors, we need to lead the men, our endeavors, so that we can gain a balance.
That's a good point, because I think we need to look at it in terms of our own movement. How do we also see that men are along the way? I think that's a very important point. How do we look at men as allies, as supporters, so that the progress is greater? Thank you, Catalina, for that important point. Mary? Yes, Mary.
Hello.
Yes, Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add on what she has said.
Yeah.
I think we need to start socializing our children, both boys and girls, at a very early age.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a very early age, we should teach the boy child and the girl child to respect each other. We should start breaking these binaries at a very early age, because sometimes it's very hard to change somebody who has grown up in believing in certain things. It's very hard to change an adult man who has grown up knowing that he can't go to the kitchen, who has grown up knowing that a man cannot cry. But when we start targeting them at a very early age, I believe the future will be brighter.
Thank you very much. I think, the culprit in the whole thing is in terms of socialization. So the only addition that I would make, Mary, to is in terms of that socialization, the effect of socialization is on both sexes, on all genders. So therefore, socialization must be to men, women, boys, girls, and other gender, to deconstruct the gender norms and rules. Vera, you have... I still look at in terms of there is no man who is speaking. Is there any reason why men are not speaking in the group? Do you know any of you men participating?
Hello.
Yes, Paul. Yeah. Thank you for...
Hello.
I have Francis. First, let's Paul. I would like to look at.
Hello?
Where are you, Paul? Where are you from, Paul?
Yeah, I'm from Botswana.
Okay.
Yes, yes. I work for Women Against It here in Botswana.
Yeah. Can you please share your comments in terms? We have been looking in terms of your own personal experience of reaching out to leadership, and we have seen in terms of how different stereotypes are hindering the glass ceiling. So, what is your views in terms of how do we break this glass ceiling?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah.
To be honest, we grew up in this world where male-driven world, and I believe this platform will help us to relook at the structures around us, and also cater for women, because it's true. Too much prejudice has been on capabilities of women around the world. And the world has made us believe that women are not fit, or I would say, sorry to say, they are weak to be holding those top positions. But we have seen so many, like those other colleagues that have been saying, they are holding those top positions. It shows that they are capable. We are all equal, like we've been saying. Women are also, they can do what men can do. So I think this platform will help us, and also to relook at the structures that we have around us, and maybe we can go ahead and challenge. That is the way we can break the ceiling that you are talking. Maybe the constitutions and everything, like they've been saying. That's my view.
So if you are, Paul, just if you are responsible for that type of mission, what would you do? If you are responsible to break this with this reflection of these structures and then challenging, what would you do?
I would give the platform to the ladies. They know what they want to do. I shouldn't be like me leading it, and maybe I'll be biased and maybe do what the structure that I'm in. Maybe my background as a man, and say this is how we should do. But it's time to say, how do we see things? Like we discuss and sit down and say, how do this thing will favor you, or you can do things. So it's like taking women on board as well, and hearing them and giving them the platform to be heard.
Thank you, Paul. I think that was very wonderful. So you say that you would proactively encourage and provide space for women to lead. Thank you. Francis, I saw you raising. Francis, please go ahead.
I'm Francis from Malawi.
Yes, Francis, go ahead.
I would like to share my take on the platform. I think mostly women have been against the terror women, especially in my country. We have experienced that. And I would give an example that in 2014, we did have an election of which the incumbent president by then was a fellow women. And most of the women most of the voters that registered were women, of which they were technically having an upper hand. But we see majority of the fellow women turning against another fellow women. And this I have noticed that it is quite common, mostly maybe here in Africa and over the world, that women are deemed to be not fit to occupy key positions. That quickly I will go to think the issue that my colleague talked about, socialization should be prioritized, so that we should have equal treatment between male and females. And this gender construct can be done through the policies and taking various strategies, deliberate strategies. And if we can go in that way, I believe we can achieve what we want through maybe also education and empowering women so that they should be competitive to fellow men counterparts. In that direction, I think we can achieve that what we want.
Yeah. Thank you, Francis. Wendy, I saw your hand up. Wendy. Yes, Wendy, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So what I wanted to say is that sometimes why women pull down other women is because they have been pulled down and they feel it's okay. They have been dragged down there and they are wondering why any other woman would want to go up. So they don't know they're stuck down there, but then I think it's a time for women to also be led to raise their voices. So I think it's subconsciously that they drag other women down. But they need to be informed and to get to know better so that we go forward together. Yeah.
No, I think what we need to look at in terms of they are also socialized to believe. I think we need to look at in terms of how the socialization plays a role in determining our lives. So therefore, if there are women who are dragging other women, it's also in terms of they were made to believe that the woman should not be doing this. So therefore, they would think that they are doing a service by not encouraging people. So therefore, I think we need to look at in terms of the socialization from all angles. How does it affect both men and women? And so therefore, if women are performing in terms of not to say that they are bad, but in terms of what are the processes, what are the causes that are forcing them to do this. Thank you, Wendy, for that. Mary?
Yeah, I wanted just to emphasize what Francis was saying and what Wendy is saying, that women are not only pulled down by fellow women. Women have been socialized even to pull themselves down.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds funny, but women have been socialized even to pull themselves down. I live in a rural setting where I'm working with women, but you will get a woman who does not have a son feeling very inferior. You know, you will get this woman who has daughters, you know, saying like, I have no children, I only have girls, and yet she's a woman. You know, and yet she's a woman. So she will only, and then you will get this woman who has maybe boys calling herself like, I'm a mother of boys. You know, she feels very superior. So until we get over this kind of socialization, until we are able to value ourselves, you know, until we have that positive self-worth of ourselves, until we have a positive self-image, then we'll not go far. Yeah.
Very, very good point, Mary. I think we need to look at it in terms of how do we feel good of ourselves? How do we feel positive of ourselves? I think sense of self-worthiness, self-dignity, I think that's very, very important. Thank you, Mary. Helena?
I would like to respond to what Mary has just said. It is true that women pull themselves down. I'm a victim, and I'm a victim in this sense. I earlier spoke about leadership and saying that because the war was tough, I took a deputizing position just for peace to reign. And in another instance, I remember quitting work because I was forced to quit work because women are supposed to stay at home. So if I had just stood firm and learned to speak up, I would have done better than that. So what she's saying is true, and we need to change that. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena. I think we wish you all that strength, Helena, at least for the future. Let's forget about what happened. We may have to learn from that, and we wish, at least I wish you that you do great things in the future. Vera?
Well, for me, I think patriarchy has kind of metamorphosized. in the sense that patriarchy is no longer being perpetrated by the men, but it is now being perpetrated by the women.
Yeah.
Because even right now, when you talk about affirmative action, men will still feel that it is too much, you know, like now women are more empowered, the boy child has been left, the boy child is this, the boy child is that, you know, forgetting that structurally, the women are still more disadvantaged, but they still have to find an issue that why are you empowering these women that can actually say no to being beaten, can actually say no to this unequal pay, can actually stand up for themselves. So for me, I think it is imperative that each one of us then become or have a meeting within themselves to start questioning themselves before you do or say something about a fellow woman. What insecurity is patriarchy feeding you that you have to then project it on a fellow woman? That then we are going to hit that glass ceiling. Yeah.
Thank you, Vera. I think, very good point. Neria?
Thank you very much. I think what the women have been saying is quite true, because socialization plays a very pivotal role in how we behave as women. Society expects you, like I've said before, to be very submissive, to have a certain type of dressing, have a certain type of speaking and all that. So when you come across as strong-willed, society tends to shun on you, tends to want you to behave a certain way. So I think socialization plays a very important role in women also looking down upon themselves, not believing they can actually perform any other duty that a man does. So it is very important, because I'll give an example. I can be a very strong-willed woman, but there are certain times where I have had to tone down so that I can accommodate and let the men feel their masculine. Yes, I've let them feel like they are the males in the group, while in actual fact I was being given a leading role, and realizing that they cannot handle it. I've done what? I've let step down a little bit so that they can also feel in control, which is very wrong. So I feel society has also made us, because people always look at a very quiet woman, a woman who cannot express themselves, and they say, this is a woman. And then I, as a woman who could come across as very strong, have been looked down as somebody, as what? As a woman who wants to lead or dominate a male environment. So as women, at times, we've let ourselves step down a little bit and be what we are not, because we want the male or the society to approve us as the proper type of women. So I think as women, we need to be ourselves. We need not to be afraid if ever we have to find ourselves in leading positions. I think that's where we can break the glass wall. That's what I think anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Neria. I think, are we compromising? I think is a question that we need to look at. We don't need to compromise. We can still be powerful in terms of, I think we all need to look at how do we break this, because this glass ceiling is created by ourselves, by the society around, and we ourselves, we can take, that's where we need to take that in terms of everyone need to take responsibility to see how we break it. Thank you, Neria. Thank you
so much.
Can I get? Thanks for Francis and Paul. I think can we get some more male voices, please? Are there? I'm sure that there are other.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Yes, present.
Thank you. I would like to share that in fact, many times women try to put down other women, but some other times other women that, for example, if she is chosen to be or to I mean, to lead a certain area in a ministry or somewhere, many times they used to say, oh, okay, I will give you the answer, but I want to ask my husband. She's not going to think about it with the husband. She wants to ask the husband if she can do or not do a leader. So these are some of the situations. My colleagues have gone too much through about the situations. I would like to present my contribute her solutions.
Yeah.
The first one is the socialization of of children in a very young ages, maybe from the primary school. The second solution I see, if these issues of gender equality can come in the curriculums, it would be helpful. The last one is the empowerment of young boys and girls. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Presentina, where are you from?
I'm from Mozambique.
Okay. The second one, what you said, the second one, youth, what is the youth?
It was if the issues of issues about gender equality.
No, the second one is what you
can
said.
Come in the curriculums.
Okay, that is the first curriculum. The second one is the youth involvement.
The third one was the empowerment of boys and girls.
Okay, okay. Thank you, President.
I lost the sound. My God.
Yeah, thank you. iPhone di Lusu.
Hello, good afternoon.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. What's your name? What's your name?
Lisongo.
Lisongo. Okay.
Yes, from Mozambique.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that one of the things that we could perhaps do to try to break these situations would be perhaps creating some more platforms, safe space like this ones where women can come together and sharing experience and positive reference of other women who came together, and also women who try to break the cycle and become references in their country, in their community. I also think that is very important for us to work more with men, engage more men to help us break the ice, because sometimes I tend to think that many women feel that they cannot be agents of authority, and men can be part of the solution when it comes to help women understand that they also can be agents of authority and power and leadership in their community. I definitely also think that we need to work more at the political level, because sometimes many of these initiatives, they fail because at the political levels, the majority of the people who constitute government are male, and they will always negate us the opportunity to thrive, negate women the opportunity to thrive, and therefore have more impact in their context and community. And especially for the case of Mozambique, I think that sometimes some women, depending on their community, are also socialized to understand, accept, and give authority to men, not recognizing or not understanding their capacity to lead and also to be agents of power. So I think that's something that we are trying to constantly change here in Mozambique, so these negative social norms. And that would be my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Liso. Neria, Mary and Presentina. Neria?
No, thanks. No, I've spoken.
Okay.
I've also spoken. Thank you.
Okay. I think, your hand is up. So, okay, now let's move in terms of, we have listened to the video. We have been discussing it for the last 1 hour. What are the insights from this? What do you consider are the insights? Hello? Did it ring any bells?
Yes, I did. Even said ones actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has made me a little bit sad just listening to some of these stories shared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Neria. Yeah. Anyone else? Peggy Ramafane. Peggy?
Thank you very much. There's been a lot of insights from today's discussions, and for me, what stood out is that we are all affected by gender inequality, including us who are advocates, who are activists on the ground.
Yeah.
We are still being affected by the way we were socialized. Even though we are trying to break out and break the ceiling, we are still very much affected. And I've also learned what stood out for me is that we need to really engage as a whole community, as a whole nation, as a whole village, as even starting in the family level, that when we socialize our children, how we live with our partners. Gender equality should be our prime activity. We should be challenging and changing all those social norms that make us not equal. So we need to come to the table, all of us, boys and girls, men and women, other genders, we all need to come together to make the change. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Where are you from, Peggy?
I'm in Maung in Botswana.
Botswana. Okay, thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
So Mary and Lisu.
After everything that we have discussed, after hearing, was it Vivian who had to quit her position just for the sake of peace? After hearing what all my colleagues have said, the important word that is coming to my mind is assertiveness.
Yeah, good.
That in everything, you are a human being, because it's not about women not being well educated, because we are hearing women who are well educated, who are very capable of doing, who have the capacity, they are still being pulled down. And so women have to continue being assertive until we get to our rightful positions. And at the same time, again, let us involve men. I think male involvement will be very, very good in this, so that we don't make it look like it's a war. Look at a country like Rwanda, where most of the members of parliament are women. I went to Kigali and the cleanliness is at another level. Today, Rwanda is really enjoying peace. We should emulate from such countries. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Lisu and then Catalina. Lisungo? Catalina?
Hey, thank you. I think I'm going on with the word perseverance.
Yeah.
We need to persevere in order to get to where we want to be, to the equality. And then we'll also want to look at the way we socialize our young ones, the boys and girls, so that we can turn all these trends that are leading to fear for the women and for domination by the men. Thank you.
Thank you, Catalina. I think that's very... Anyone else? Helena?
I have a question.
Yes, Helena.
Yeah, when we say we need to persevere, it makes me feel like persevering makes me feel like, like, okay, this is the situation, let it just be, and I'm not doing anything about it. I wonder what anybody would say about perseverance.
Yeah, that's anyone else? Can you
Um,
respond to Jessica? Yeah, can you respond to what Helena was asking? Jessica? Jessica? Jessica, before Jessica, you have raised your hand. Would you like to share? Priska? Priska Upendo? Okay, Mary, would you like to respond to what
yeah, I
Helena was
totally
saying?
agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree with her.
yeah.
That when we say we need to persevere, it means we have to accept the status quo. For me, the word perseverance here is really showing weakness. It is like we don't need to fight for our position. We have to accept things the way they are. And I feel there is nothing to persevere because God created us equal. We have equal rights. Our constitution talks about when we say we persevere, then we are going to go against all the efforts that have been made, you know, the SDG 5 and all that, so that we just remain where we are. I said it is about being assertive, that we must kind of come out very forcefully as women, and with those men who will support this, because we have men who are feminists. They need to like tell other men, tell even other women, because I also know women who kind of pull down other women. I know women who have persevered and they have remained there. We need also to get to these ones. But I think perseverance will make us remain where we are, which we cannot do.
Helena, my point is in terms perseverance is not in terms of that we remain, but what we remain with our goal, despite the challenges. We may take, we may be dormant for some time, but our goal still continues. So perseverance is pursuing things despite challenges, taking time, space, and then effort. That's what perseverance is. Yeah, we know that there will be challenges, but we don't succumb to it. But we may be silent for some time, but we will continue our journey to achieve our goal. That's the perseverance. Yeah, thank you very much. I think Elizabeth, I will ask Elizabeth as the last because we haven't heard, and then we'll have to close. Elizabeth?
Hello.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, are you Doc or Prof?
I am Damu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Yeah, thank you, Damo. It has been a very interactive session. I've learned a lot, especially from the first video that we listened. I've been really challenged by the Finnish women. They really taken up the leadership, and what I'm taking home is that when it comes to leadership and decision making, we should always have the care and compassion in decision making and have inclusive leadership. And this should just appear for both women and men, not only men. So we should also not judge women, and we should support our fellow women for a more productive and robust economy.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Where are you from, Elizabeth?
Yes, I'm Elizabeth from Kenya.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that was a very wonderful participation. I think we must move with that positive note that we need to look at how do we move forward, how do we, with perseverance and then on that assertiveness. Thank you very much for all your participation, and we'll see you on Monday